By the end of this video, you will know exactly how to split every single paycheck so you never stress about money again. You build savings on autopilot, and you still have guilt-free cash left over for the things you actually enjoy. And you'll have a step-by-step plan you can start today, even if you've failed at budgeting a dozen times before. Here's a number that should make you uncomfortable. 78% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. That's not just people earning minimum wage. That includes households making six figures. It includes doctors, engineers, and people with impressive job titles who still feel broke by the 27th of every month. The problem isn't how much you earn. The problem is that nobody ever taught you a dead simple system to manage whatever you do earn. But before I reveal the one tweak to this classic budgeting rule that most financial advisors never tell their clients, a tweak that can literally shave years off your journey to financial freedom, let's start with the fundamentals that will transform your relationship with money forever. In the next 15 minutes, you're going to learn 3 things that will change everything. First, I'll break down the exact percentages you should allocate to every category of spending, with real dollar amounts so you can see precisely what this looks like with your income. Second, I'll show you the hidden traps in each category that cause 90% of budgets to fail within the first 3 months. And third, I'll give you the advanced modification that separates people who are financially comfortable from people who become genuinely wealthy. Quick, if you've ever made a budget only to completely abandon it 2 weeks later, hit the like button right now. It tells the algorithm this content is valuable and helps us reach more people who need to hear this. Let me paint a picture you probably recognize. It's the 15th of the month. Payday. You check your bank account and feel that brief moment of hope. This month will be different. Then the bills hit. Rent or mortgage comes out. Car payment, insurance, subscriptions you forgot about. By day 20, you're checking your balance before every purchase, doing mental math in the grocery store aisle, and transferring tiny amounts between accounts just to avoid overdraft fees. The stress is constant. The guilt when you buy yourself a coffee is real. And the worst part? You're not even getting ahead. Last month looked exactly like this. So did the month before. Americans carry an average of $6,200 in credit card debt. The average car payment is now $738 per month. Student loan payments average $393. Add those up, and many people owe more to their debts than they earn in an entire month. This is why 73% of people say money is their number one source of stress. Not health, not relationships, money. But here's what nobody tells you. The reason most budgets fail isn't lack of willpower, it's complexity. Traditional budgets ask you to track 40 different categories, log every purchase, and feel guilty about everything you enjoy. That's not budgeting, that's punishment. And punishment doesn't create lasting change. The 50-30-20 budget rule flips this entire approach. Instead of tracking dozens of categories, you only manage 3. Instead of restricting everything, you build in permission to enjoy your money. Instead of requiring an accounting degree, it takes about 10 minutes to set up and runs almost on autopilot. This rule was popularized by Senator Elizabeth Warren in her book All Your Worth, written before she entered politics, when she was a Harvard bankruptcy law professor who had studied thousands of families who had gone broke. She found that the families who stayed financially stable all had something in common. They kept their essential expenses below a specific threshold. That insight became the foundation for the 50-30-20 rule. Let me break down exactly what each number means. The 50 represents your needs. Half of your after-tax income goes toward things you absolutely must pay to survive and function in society. We're talking rent or mortgage payments. Utilities like electricity, water, gas, and internet if you work from home. Groceries, not dining out, just basic food. Health insurance premiums. Minimum debt payments on loans and credit cards. Transportation to work, whether that's a car payment, fuel, or public transit passes. And childcare if you need it to work. Here's where most people get this wrong. They classify wants as needs. That gym membership with the sauna and pool? That's a want. A basic gym or home workout is a need for health. The unlimited phone plan with international coverage you've used once? Want. A basic phone plan is the need. Be ruthless here. If you lost your job tomorrow and had to survive on emergency savings, would you keep paying for it? If the answer is no, it's not a need. Let me give you concrete numbers. Say your take-home pay after taxes is $4,000 per month. 50% means $2,000 maximum for needs. If your rent alone is $1,800, you've already got a problem. You either need a cheaper living situation, a roommate, or higher income. There's no budgeting trick that fixes math. For UK viewers, the numbers scale the same way. If your monthly take-home is £3,000, $1,500 goes to needs. No exceptions, no rationalizations. The micro insight here is this: if your needs exceed 50%, you don't have a budgeting problem. You have a structural problem, and no amount of skipping lattes will fix it. Stop. Before I continue, this next part is critical. The 30% category is where most people sabotage themselves, and it's also where the most freedom lives. The 30 represents your wants. This is the money you spend on things that improve your quality of life but aren't essential for survival. Dining out and ordering takeaway, streaming subscriptions like Netflix and Spotify, clothing beyond basic necessities, hobbies and entertainment, vacations and travel, the nicer apartment in the trendy neighborhood versus the functional one further out, upgrades and conveniences of all kinds. Using our $4,000 example, 30% gives you $1,200 per month for wants. That's $300 per week for everything fun in your life. Here's the mistake 80% of people make. They either feel guilty about every purchase in this category, or they let it balloon to 50% of their income without realizing it. Both are wrong. The first leads to burnout and budget abandonment. The second leads to financial stagnation. The fix is simple: know your number and spend it freely. When you know that $1,200 is budgeted for wants, that $45 dinner doesn't create guilt. It's planned, it's allowed, it's part of the system. This next section changed everything for me, because I used to think budgeting meant restriction. Then I realized the 30% category is actually permission. Permission to enjoy your money without sabotaging your future. The 20 represents your savings and extra debt payments. This is the money that builds your future wealth and financial security. Emergency fund contributions until you reach 3 to 6 months of expenses. Retirement account investments like your 401k, IRA, or for UK viewers, your pension and ISA contributions. Extra payments on debt beyond the minimums, saving for major purchases like a house down payment, investment account contributions for non-retirement goals. With $4,000 in take-home pay, 20% means $800 per month going toward your future self. That's $9,600 per year. Over 10 years invested at a 7% average return, that becomes over $130,000. The mistake here is treating this category as optional. People pay their needs, spend freely on wants, and then save whatever's left over. Here's the problem: there's never anything left over. The fix is automating this payment to yourself. Set up automatic transfers on payday. The money moves to savings and investments before you ever see it in your checking account. You can't spend what you don't see. The number 83% of people who automate their savings report, they don't even miss the money. It just becomes part of the system. If you've made it this far, you're already ahead of 95% of people, and what I'm about to share in this next section is the most valuable part of this entire video. Don't skip it. Subscribe to at Wealth Decode Plus if you haven't already. We drop a brand new money strategy every single day at 6 p.m. Hit that notification bell so you never miss one. Now, I need to pause here because this is where most people go wrong. They hear the 50-30-20 rule and try to implement it overnight. Monday, they're spending 60% on needs and 5% on savings. Tuesday, they try to flip to perfect percentages. By Friday, they've given up entirely. The real approach is graduated adjustment. If you're currently spending 65% on needs, you don't slash it to 50 overnight. You identify one expense to reduce this month. Maybe you negotiate your car insurance down by calling and asking for a loyalty discount. Average savings from that single call is $147 per year. Maybe you audit your subscriptions and find 2 you forgot you were paying for. The average American wastes $273 annually on forgotten subscriptions. Each small win moves you closer to the target ratio. Trying to revolutionize everything at once is a recipe for failure. But here's what nobody tells you about the 20% savings category. Where you put that money matters enormously. Let me walk you through the priority order. First, if your employer offers a 401k or pension match, contribute enough to get the full match. This is literally free money. A 50% match on 6% of your salary is an instant 50% return. No investment in history consistently beats that. Second, build your emergency fund to $1,000 as fast as possible. This prevents a single car repair or medical bill from derailing your entire financial life. Third, pay off high-interest debt above 8%, especially credit cards. The average credit card rate is now over 24%. Paying that off is the equivalent of earning 24% guaranteed on your money. Fourth, grow your emergency fund to 3 to 6 months of expenses. Fifth, max out tax-advantaged retirement accounts. The 2024 401k limit is $23,000. IRA limit is $7,000. For UK viewers, the ISA allowance is £20,000 and pension contributions up to your annual allowance. Only after all of that should you consider taxable brokerage accounts for additional investing. Most people skip this sequence. They invest in random stocks while carrying credit card debt, which is mathematically insane. They have 6 months of expenses in a savings account earning 2% but no retirement contributions. Get the order right. Let me give you the practical application you can use immediately. Here's what to do today. It will take less than 10 minutes. Pull up your last 3 months of bank and credit card statements. Add up every transaction and sort them into needs, wants, and savings or debt payments. Calculate your actual percentages. Don't guess. The reality check is often shocking. Most people discover their wants category is 40 to 50% while their savings is under 10. Here's what to do this week. Open a separate savings account at a high-yield online bank. Right now, accounts at places like Marcus, Ally, or for UK viewers, Chase or Monzo, offer over 4% interest. Set up an automatic transfer from your checking account on payday. Start with whatever amount moves you toward 20%, even if you can't hit it perfectly yet. Here's what to do this month. Audit every single recurring expense. Call each provider and ask for a better rate. Research shows that 80% of people who ask for a discount receive one, but only 30% ever ask. Cancel anything you haven't used in 60 days. Reallocate those savings to your automatic transfer. Use free tools like Mint, YNAB's free trial, or the built-in budgeting features in banking apps like Monzo or Chase to track your 3 categories automatically. Now let me answer the question I posed at the very beginning. The one tweak that most financial advisors never mention, the one that can shave years off your journey to financial freedom. It's this. Once you've mastered 50-30-20, you graduate to a modified ratio. 40-30-30, you squeeze your needs down to 40% by optimizing housing, transportation, and recurring bills. You keep your wants at 30 because lifestyle matters and deprivation doesn't last, and you bump your savings and investments to 30%. That extra 10% over a 30-year career, assuming 7% average returns, represents over $500,000 in additional wealth, $500,000, just from shifting 10 percentage points. This is how people retire at 55 instead of 67. This is how people achieve financial independence while their friends are still grinding. Not through massive income or lucky investments, but through systematically increasing that savings rate over time. Let me give you the 3 key takeaways from everything we've covered. First, the 50-30-20 rule works because simplicity beats complexity, and 3 categories beat 40 categories every single time. Second, automate your savings on payday so the money disappears before you can spend it, making saving the default instead of an afterthought. Third, once you've mastered the basics, gradually shift toward 40-30-30 to accelerate your wealth building and potentially gain years of extra freedom. Comment below and tell me which of these strategies are you going to try first. I read every single comment and I'll personally reply to as many as I can. I genuinely want to know where you're starting and what changes you're committing to. In tomorrow's video, I'm revealing the exact sequence for paying off debt that saves the most money and time, something that took me years to figure out and most people never learn. Subscribe right now so you don't miss it.